Good morning. This is Wendy Henley, the CEO of the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce, coming to you with Chamber Vibes podcast. And today we have some local guests who are well known in the community, and we are so thrilled to honor Nancy Johnson this morning. I cannot tell you how overjoyed I am to have her and her husband here on the show. I just don't feel like I'm worthy of this, but I am so excited to interview them and honor Nancy this morning. From this past weekend, we had our Excellence in Business Awards, and we were so thrilled and just in awe of what all Nancy Johnson has done for our community. One person, her story will show you what one person can do in her community and how much difference that she can make with a passion for people, a heart for her community. And she has inspired me so much that I am going to go back and relook at my entire life after this and see what I can do. But Nancy Johnson, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And Danny, welcome as well.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Well, Nancy, we were able to honor you this weekend with the BACC Lifetime Achievement Award, which is something that is only given to those that have certainly done and given back to their community in a high level and being a true leader in Bedford, and certainly given back to the Chamber of Commerce, to women, to people of all cultures. And you have certainly just done so much. I mean, I can't even believe what you've devoted your entire life to helping others to succeed. And I know that's been your mission from day one. And it's just so exciting to talk to you today. And so let's begin with your story. But I want to say, everyone in the whole area knows you, and you have just been such instrumental in your church and in the whole community. So tell us what brought you to Bedford.
When I was 12 years old, my parents moved from southeast Roanoke to Bedford County. And at that time, I began going to Bedford County schools. Montvale was at that time a comprehensive first grade through 12th grade school. It was the school that my mother had graduated from, and my husband's sister had graduated from Montvale High School, ironically in the same year. I was at Montvale from the time I was in the 6th grade until I graduated from Montvale High School. After college and obtaining my teacher's degree, I taught at Stewartsville, which was then a high school, and then returned to my old alma mater at Montvale and taught there until the consolidation of schools, and continued my teaching career the first year that Liberty High School opened, and continued to teach there for a number of years.
And you're still teaching people today, just in a different way. And I love that because it never stopped. Your life, you continue to teach. So I want you to know that. And you've been so inspiring to me. And so I don't want to get too deep into it or I'm going to get emotional. But what really touches me initially was your involvement and how you spearheaded the campaign for National D-Day right here in Bedford. What you did allowed it to happen. And so let's talk about that. On the 40th anniversary of D-Day, you were reading in the New York Times that the anniversary had passed and really not a lot had been done for that in the community. And of course, we lost more boys here in our area. And so that touched you and you were talking to Danny about it, and how the 50th anniversary, you said, okay, that's not going to go unnoticed. We cannot let that happen. And so tell us about what you did from that moment.
Well, first of all, I went to the board of directors of the Bedford Museum. Well, actually, that was the second thing. The first thing I did was I spoke to Lucille Bogus, who has been integrally involved in every aspect, since she, of course, had two brothers that were lost during that invasion on D-Day. And I spoke with her about bringing all this up and doing a play. And she was very much in favor of it. And then I spoke to, I believe, I'm not sure whether it was Roy Stevens or Ray Nance, one of the two, to sort of get their stamp of approval. And then I went to the board at the museum and told them that I wanted to plan to do that and wanted them to be the sponsoring organization behind it. And the first thing they asked was, have you spoken to? And I said, yes, I've spoken to the people that were integrally involved, and they have given me the okay. So we had a program. I went to Stanton River High School and to Liberty High School and spoke with the classes there. At that time, there was a class that combined history, art, and culture rather than just one single thing. And I spoke to the teachers of each of those groups and asked for their cooperation. At that point, I was not involved at all with Jefferson Forest.
But you were working closely with the Bedford County teachers with Stanton River at that time, right?
And Liberty.
And Liberty, okay.
Liberty, yes.
To create that historical play, right?
Correct. And that was the one thing, having that play involving all those kids, that brought attention to the 50th anniversary. The national networks came and covered the show, and that really gave the impetus for actually building the memorial itself, which is the only national memorial not supported by federal funds. It's a privately owned, operated, that the people of Bedford have simply taken to their hearts and continue to support it and its needs.
And so you really brought the attention where it needed to be and really got people thinking, okay, we're right here. We need to make sure that this is not forgotten and really memorialize for Bedford all the people that were lost. And, I think it was Greg King recorded an interview, and it's still available on a flash drive, which I need to get that. But you had the high schools involved and that participated in the interview, and talking about D-Day and all that was done, and then shared a letter and from President Eisenhower, and it was all out there for everybody to see and realize this is what needs to be done. We need to memorialize and make sure that people don't forget right here in Bedford. So many lives were lost, and so you were the one to get that conversation started with the plays and all of these things. What else happened at that time that was really focusing on? Was that the biggest thing was the plays and the interviews?
At that time, we also were working with the architects. Byron Dixon ultimately became the architect for the final design. It was a project that just bloomed and blossomed, because at first we were offered, the organization working on a D-Day memorial, were offered a little plot of land in Roanoke. It's probably not 3 acres. It's at the intersection of Wells Road. And if you're going toward Hotel Roanoke, there's a little plot of land there, and that was all that was offered. And then Mike Shelton offered 26 acres in Bedford. And even those of us who worked on it in the very beginning, probably only Bob Slaughter had the dream and the initiative for it to really happen.
And then you guys began raising awareness and raising funds at that point. And it all began, and with that inspiration from you and Bob Slaughter, and these kids performed the play at the old Bedford High School in 1994. That was the year.
Correct.
And so that was the onset of the dream and what was taking place. And so you had these performances, and then you went on to direct some other performances, including Bedford Goes to War,
written by Jim Morrison,
and another play at Sedalia, each raising awareness and bringing in the funds for the memorial. And so you arranged for the players from Stanton to come to Bedford to perform Tuesday morning with the Little Town Players.
And we do have, I guess at that time, their correct terminology is videotapes of that performance, which was excellent. And D-Day should have a copy of that. I've made copies for them. And
well, we want to see those. I definitely wanted to get to see those too, so we can share those as well. And so veterans and the families had special seating and provided lunch at the Welcome Center. And you had the cast and crew meeting the living veterans there that day.
And why is it called Tuesday morning, Wendy?
Tuesday morning, was that the day? That was the day that it happened.
So it's not morning. It's
right, it's morning.
Morning.
Yes.
Tuesday morning, because that was the day that the news started coming into Bedford about the casualties.
Yes, so much to know. And, you know, people need to dive into the history of Bedford, and this is so important to all of us, is knowing this and making sure that we don't forget and honoring those who died for us and to give us the freedom that we have every day. So important. And your heart of making sure that that happened really came out. Your vision was made into reality. And so you went on to, so then what happened after that? So the plays, and then you guys were able to raise the funds ongoing. And then and then of course National D-Day was able to be established here in Bedford. And as you said, not federally funded.
No.
So that's, people, I think they just need to realize that and take that in. That all of that was done. So we had Mayor Shelton ask Danny if he could, on the day of the memorial dedication, have people in. So Danny, talk about that.
Well, I think Bob Slaughter probably helped. It was one of the ones that instigated the thing to say, do you think you could take a few of our friends in? And Mike was there and said, yeah, he'll be able to do something to that effect. He was volunteering us to do it, basically. And that was early. This was supposed to be on the dedication of it, which was several years in advance. And the next year that they had a meeting, the generals came down. Bob said, how many people is going to be? In the first year, it was around 50 that we'd need to feed and take care of that day. And next year he came and he said, it's probably 150 it's going to be. And the year after that, it was around 350. It just kept going
growing.
up. It kept growing, and it grew and grew. And each year it got larger. And he said, you sure you can do this? And I said, what y'all throw at me, we'll get it done somehow or the other. Well, when they had the memorial dedication, Nancy and I had so much to do, we couldn't go to see the dedication. We had to stay there and get ready for these buses of these veterans that were coming.
Right.
And the night before the dedication, the storm hit, and not only did it tear all our tents and preparations down at the farm, so it did the same thing at D-Day. They had to put up everything again to get ready because it flattened everything. And we did too, but they had it. Everything worked out fine, and they had the service, and we watched it on TV.
Now tell me how many people, because it wasn't started at 50 to then up to 300. Then what did it end up being?
We finally ended up feeding 950 people that day.
Oh my goodness.
The buses came in. We fed some on the bus. The first thing we did when the buses came in, because it was so hot, is we would jump on that bus in a bus and just take and pass out water. And then we started feeding them. And we had music for them. We had 3 wineries there that could serve them wine. They could sit and enjoy it or do what they liked to do. And if they wanted to stay in the air-conditioned bus, we would let them stay in the air-conditioned bus and feed them in the bus. It didn't matter where they wanted to go. But it was a big day for us and for the veterans that came. And I think every one of them enjoyed it.
And we can't express enough appreciation for the friends and volunteers who jumped in that day, because serving that many people water, lunch, and just taking the time to talk to them and to be with them was a tremendous undertaking.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And I can't even want to try to remember the names of all those people.
Oh, right. But
I remember Ellen Dean in particular, because she happened to be wearing a tie-dye dress and it rained. And Ellen was tie-dyed permanently. But there were lots of friends and volunteers, and we could not have done it without them. And the businesses that cooperated. Winn-Dixie prepared the lunch for a very nominal fee for a really delightful box lunch. Gano's Sausage furnished a refrigerated truck to store the lunches in so they would be ready and able to be served at the time. And I don't remember about the soft drinks who furnished those, but one of the companies, I'm sure, furnished the cold soft
drinks. It takes a community, right? But you guys spearheaded this. And so you had everything that you needed was provided, but you guys stayed back to really honor and, host the 29th Division veterans and their friends, their families. You had national and international dignitaries there, along with the architect, Byron Dixon. And you made it happen, and you've made these people know that they were honored and remembered.
Absolutely.
And it was an incredible hot day. It's funny how every time there's a honorary celebration at D-Day, it's always so hot. This past year, it was so hot. But you get to experience and to really know all that went on, and to make sure that we don't forget. I just think that is the most important. And you guys made it happen. So And so waters were passed out initially, I know. And so you were able to do all of that for the whole community and for, let's face it, our whole country. And make sure that we had that here, the National D-Day Memorial. So, Nancy, we cannot honor you enough. We cannot say thank you enough, but we want to try. And so this is just the beginning. And so, want to tell a little bit more about your story, because that was just one huge thing that you were able to accomplish in your life, and the legacy continues. You were a court-appointed special advocate for CASA for 5 years. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's one of the most rewarding things that you can do. What your job is to represent your child's interest in court and to become a friend of that child and to ascertain what their real needs and wants are, often that they won't share with somebody else who is a counselor or a teacher, but somebody who's just a friend who will take them to the farm and let them ride the horse and become a friend of them. The reason I stopped being a CASA was you form such an attachment to the children that you have. And my own family was growing by leaps and bounds. And I just could not take the time away from my own family, because once you worked with a CASA child, you never, ever got rid of them. They
Right.
always stayed in your heart, and they always stayed a friend. And after a while, they just keep piling up, one after the other. And it became too much emotional involvement with the children that I had to stop adding more to it.
Right. But lives were changed, and you were there in the time of need when you could. You stepped up and you made a difference. And so we thank you for that, what you've done so much. And of course, all the runs, these runs that y'all have done, talk about those at the winery, at the orchard up there. Danny?
Yeah, well, we started putting on. Nancy had about with cancer, and she had read up a lot about it and everything, and she read that, knowing that exercise was what was needed for cancer patients and everything, and she was trying to do something that would help cancer patients be able to get exercise at the Y without being charged of having help, at least in paying for different things. So between the Y and us, they put on a 5K every year now to raise funds for the Y, so they have money to help out cancer patients with the exercise programs, swimming programs, and stuff as that. And that has been a big help to the community, and more especially to the people that have had cancer and so forth. It's been a big help.
Absolutely. Touch so many, and it's needed.
It is. It is really needed, and the Y is really good doing that too.
They really are.
They put in a lot of work there for that.
Well, and speaking of that, you guys are definitely involved with the Y.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy taught many people swimming lessons, as a matter of fact. Speak to this, Nancy, how this came about at the Bedford Lake. This was in the 60s.
I've always been interested in swimming, and when I was in undergraduate school, I worked as a lifeguard and then got my teaching certificate and began teaching at Bedford County Lake. And there was this clunky old car that the Red Cross had that furnished transportation. And later, Danny got me a motorcycle so I could ride to my swimming classes on a motorcycle instead of a clunky old car. And those classes continued at Bedford County Lake, I'd have 40 or 50 kids in a class and beg for a helper because you can't watch 40 or 50 kids at one time in a murky lake when you can't see when they go under. So I continued to teach at the lake until it was sold. And then once it was sold, it was segregated. So I said, Danny, can you build a swimming pool? And he said, I don't know. I built a house. I guess I can build a swimming pool.
When she always says the words, can you, I know there's work involved for me. Can you? When I hear those words.
But you accept the challenge, which is good.
I didn't have any better sense. I know if I could or couldn't.
So there was no place for children of a different skin color to learn to swim, or adults either. So there was no why. They couldn't go to the country club. It's too dangerous to go try to learn in Goose Creek. But so I think he mentioned the other day how few days we managed to get the pool up and going and sign people up. And I taught in the backyard for 35 years, I guess, at least.
The people, she really got on the ball. When I said I can't, I can try or whatever. She got on the ball, and first thing you know, she had signed up 200 people to come to take swimming. And people were coming up in May to see where our swimming pool was at. And they'd come up to find out where we lived and everything. And I'd run into them, and I'd say, where is your swimming pool? And I'd say, well, it's going to be right out there. They said, when are you going to start working? I said, when is the class? And they said, it's July the 10th. I said, oh, we'll be ready by then. So I got Harry Bassey to dig the hole and told him, I said, Harry, I'm in a rush for this thing. I said, so I don't want to form the outside of that pool except the top above ground part of it. I want to use that dirt, so you cut it real straight, real slick, and I don't have to work as hard. And it was, he did a great job. And when we poured the floor, it was so hot that Dad stood on the outside of the pool and sprinkled us over in the pool. Now, this was in June.
Oh,
This is when we started in June, building the pool.
And you were done in July. Oh, my goodness.
Well, we actually filled it with 52 loads, 500-gallon loads of water from the creek on the 4th of July that year.
Oh, my goodness.
And then we had a commercial filter in the pool. So it didn't take long for that to clear up the water, and everything was okay. And so on the 10th, she opened it up for swimming.
You were right there. You were ready. This was in 1966 or 67?
67, somewhere
67?
along there.
Okay. And you had 200 people signed up, ready to go. Swimming lessons. It's amazing when you think about all you have done, Nancy. And so from teaching kids at school to swimming lessons to spearheading National D-Day Memorial, and all the lives that you have affected in a positive way and just inspired people of all nationalities, of all cultures, right here, you're making a difference, and you continue to do so. And with all the plays, I mean, just so much. And I'm just inspired reading your story and really hearing more about all that you have done. And we're just excited to honor you today, and continually will honor you all year, the rest of this year. And what's next? I mean, what is going to be next for you, Nancy? And of course, the farm. You've got Johnson's Winery, we should say. And we're going to talk about what people can buy at Christmas coming up in a second. come
That
up
was
there and
another.
see you.
That was another one of them. Do you think you can? And then she added, make wine to it. And I said, Nancy, I don't know. Probably. I said, I've been putting down mash for liquor. I reckon I can make wine.
He said, I'm going to accept this challenge. But, I think that's what makes you guys so great, such a wonderful team, is you always said yes.
Wendy, you certainly asked me a thought-provoking question of, like, what's next? Because I've worked on committees to start the Y. I've worked on committees to start the Bauer Center. I've worked on committees that helped found the Community Health Foundation. And almost all of the organizations, Little Town Players is, of course, my favorite. I've been in on the ground floor of starting those things. But now, what's the need now?
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, you can look around Bedford and say a lot of the needs are being taken care of, particularly with arts. It's better than it ever has been.
Absolutely.
Young people complain because we don't have a theater, or we don't have certain amenities that they would do. I think Bedford could do better in bringing in more concerts, become more like Franklin County. I think that there's a need for that.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody else has got to get the ball rolling on that.
Sure. Well, we've got the Bauer Center, and I'm sure Susan, she's been working hard over there. So yes, we can, but we have so much talent. So you're right. We need to showcase the talent that we have right here. And of course we can bring in people from the region too, to showcase them. But you play the piano, right?
I did.
Okay. And so we can start with you. And I think we should.
Well, she tried to play the banjo, and she finally told me, she said, I found out after taking a year of banjo lessons that banjo players are born.
Okay.
They don't learn to play
They're
by
not trained.
taking lessons. So she would bring that banjo home. Now, I don't know anything about playing a banjo, but all my sisters and dad, all of them had an ear for music. Well,
Yeah.
I got a little bit of an ear for music, and I could tell when the banjo was out of tune, so I'd tune it for them.
I guess
I love it.
Was it in the 70s there were so many bluegrass festivals?
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
And I would ask banjo players, how did you learn to play the banjo?
And what did they say?
Well, there was always this little story of, one day I took sick. I wasn't feeling good at all. So Mom put me in bed on a little day bed out on the back porch. And I was real sick. But I said, Mama, would you bring me a banjo? And she said, Son, you can't play no banjo. He said, well, Mom, I just feel the need. You just need to bring me a banjo. And I've been playing the banjo ever since.
Self-taught.
So I told Danny, piano teachers make piano players, but only God makes banjo players.
There you go. Oh, that makes total sense. And what a great story. And you guys are phenomenal, both of you. Power team. And I'm just blessed to know you, and we're all blessed to have you in Bedford. So thank you for all you do, and continue on. We will definitely look forward to hearing more from you and what's next for Nancy, because we know she's not done. And Danny, you just have to keep saying yes. And so you can continue to be the power team.
Honey, can you? Will you? Do you think you can?
That's right. And you have been right on every time, not missed a beat. So that's why we are so thrilled to honor Nancy, who has the dreams, makes them happen, has the passion and the drive to do it, and the heart to see the change and loves people, and it shows in you so much. So thank you again. We look forward to what's next. Keep us informed. Danny, tell us what you have right now that people can come see you and get ready for Christmas.
Well, of course, we're open daily from now to the first of the year, except Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and from noon to 5. So, and we have our wine tastings there, and we've got some new wines. We've got a new strawberry sparkling wine. We're in the process of bottling a peach sparkling wine again. We've sold out of that several times, and we have about 35 different kinds of flavors of wine up there. We do fruit wines, basically. We also have a few dry grape wines, and we have a dry, what we call Virginia apple lovers. It's a dry apple, very much like a Chardonnay. We put it in one of the little contests one time that had Chardonnays and called it a Chardonnay, and it won.
There you go.
I had to go back and tell them, no, it wasn't a Chardonnay, it was the apple. They were about to kill me.
I bet.
But anyhow.
And this is at Peaks of Otter Winery. So everybody that's listening to this needs to know you've got to go out and see them. I went out there the other day to talk to you guys and present the award to Nancy. And it was so just relaxing. If you haven't been out there, people need to go. You can make a day trip. You've got the animals out there. It's so peaceful. It's just like a little piece of heaven on that mountain. I'm telling you, people need to experience it. And you've got the back porch. You've got the inside. You know, it's just so inviting.
And we've got the Virginia love sign out there too. One of the most unusual love signs that's in the state of Virginia. It's a big love sign, and
got a big apple.
Yep, got a big apple in it for the O. Got a big apple for the O there in it, and we also have a 15-foot Johnny Appleseed there greeting people. And of course, Nancy was instrumental in bringing field trips. Thousands and thousands of school kids have been educated in farming by coming to our educational field trips at the farm.
And learning about the importance of agriculture in your community.
Yeah.
And in addition to wine, you have about 96 other products. Jams, jellies, sauces, hot sauces.
Right here in Virginia, Virginia made. If you want to send stuff out to family members far away, you want to go see Danny.
Yeah, and we've got
Johnson's
once
Orchard
or twice a day.
And we have a website, peaksofotterwinery.com. You can go there and you can order online and have it shipped. We ship to 35 different states. So you can go online, and if you got a state or got friends in another state, you can ship wine right to them that way.
So much to offer right here in Bedford. We just encourage everyone to come see you and support local. Make sure that you go see Danny and Nancy and tell them we sent you, but we look forward to seeing you again and having another interview to seeing what's next.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful Merry Christmas.
You do the same.
Thank you.